kidding me?
Did you see that game last night between the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces and the Indiana Clarks? Wowzer! The Anonymous Faces won on a last-second shot by Jane Doe. It was exciting. It was thrilling. It was the best basketball game I've ever seen. To answer your question, no, I did not watch the game last night between the Anonymous Faces and the Indiana Clarks. My options last night were either watching the WNBA or trimming the hair on Oreo's ass so her doodle doesn't get stuck back there when she is dropping turds. When I'm faced with those two options, I will always choose shaving my dog's ass over watching the WNBA. I had to search this morning to find that clip I just shared with you because once again, no one is talking about the basketball in the WNBA. No one is talking about the horrendous play on the court last night. Uncle Casey, how do you know the play was horrendous? You just said you weren't watching. Yeah. An overtime game where both teams struggle to eclipse 85 points. A game where both teams combined for almost 40 turnovers. A game where both teams combined to shoot 42 threes and only made 12. I don't need to watch 4 quarters along with the punishment of overtime to know that last night was a slog. But credit to the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces for getting a big win on the road last night. There is no shame for the Indiana Clarks in losing that game. But again, no one is talking about the basketball because once again, WNBA players found a way to put the spotlight on the spectators instead of the players. Midway through the third quarter, one of the Anonymous Faces from Vegas was at the free throw line. She was wearing number 24, and according to the box score, that number belongs to Lloyd the jeweler. As Lloyd is preparing to offer a fresh breeze with airballed free throws, she abruptly stops in the midst of her preparation to call for security. 911, what is your emergency? Oh my, please help me. I'm pretending to play basketball and I keep hearing this noise. It's disturbing my peace. Please send the SWAT team right away. Initially, I thought one of those dastardly Caitlin Clark fans had illegally confiscated some of Lloyd's precious jewels. Maybe they took some valuable cubic zirconia, or as WNBA players prefer to call them, diamonds. But as it turns out, Lloyd and the other victims from the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces, they were not calling security over stolen property. They were calling security over hurt feelings. Watch for yourself.
There's some issue on the floor right now. Both teams huddling up. .438 to go in this third quarter. The right people.
As you just saw, 2 men dealing with the dual disease of toxic masculinity and white privilege, they were escorted out of the arena last night. Why? I guess, according to Lloyd the jeweler and her teammate Jack Young, they were yelling at us. They were hurting our feelings with the deadly weapon of words. I know the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces are not used to playing in front of crowds. I know they're accustomed to playing in front of empty seats. They are used to standing on the court and being able to communicate clearly with their family who are sitting up in the rafters. But when 17,000 people are inside of an arena, they're going to be talking. That does not give you probable cause to kick them out. Last night, the Indiana Fever issued a statement about this mythical incident, and I want to give them credit for their outright refusal to take these pretend victims at their word. Check it out for yourself. We briefly looked into what happened last night. We spoke with dozens of witnesses, and we confirmed that our fans did not violate the code of conduct. Once again, entitled players in our league are pretending to be the ultimate victim. Now, you're probably thinking, if nothing happened, how come these two gentlemen were escorted out of the arena? According to reports, they chose to leave voluntarily, and my guess is they will never return. How many times have I said it? How many times have I looked directly into this camera and said, they don't want your business? Clearly, no one is taking my word for it, but how much more proof do you need? How many times do Caitlin Clark fans have to be accused of manufactured racism? How many times have WNBA players chastised fans on social media? I don't know about you guys, but when someone tells me they don't want my business, my money, when someone tells me they don't want me watching their product, especially when it's a substandard product like the WNBA, I listen. I am not usually a rule follower, but I will gladly follow this rule. Believe it or not, I don't blame Lloyd the jeweler for what happened last night. I don't blame Jack Young. I don't blame AJ Wilson or the other anonymous faces from Las Vegas. You know who is responsible for what happened last night? Cathy Engelbert. Uncle KC, how can you blame Kat? She wasn't even there. Because of her lack of leadership, because of her refusal to hold WNBA players accountable for making false accusations, which, by the way, you know what happens in real life when you make false accusations? You know what happens in real life when you slander someone's name, someone's character? Your ass gets arrested and you're probably gonna get sued. But since the WNBA is the world of make-believe, there are never any consequences. We can't punish pretend basketball players. They're not real. Jewel Lloyd, Jackie Young, and whoever else was responsible for what happened last night, they should be suspended. You can't go around making false accusations because someone hurt your feelings. You can't kick paying customers out of the arena because they boo every time you airball free throws. Now, of course, suspending entitled players, highly unlikely in the WNBA because Cathy Engelbert is terrified of being accused of mythical racism. Again, I don't blame the players. I expect this behavior from WNBA players. For decades, they have been conditioned to complain. They have been conditioned to be entitled. They have been taught to be the victim, especially when the situation is involving white men. I can't blame WNBA players for conducting themselves unprofessionally because they've never been accountable for being professionals. You know, throughout the week this week, I've seen WNBA players complaining about the fact that no one talks about the illusion of basketball in their league. Earlier this week, Sophie Cunningham asked the media to talk about basketball. Shanae Agwumake, one of the lead propagandists at ESPN, she has been polishing the turd, begging people to focus on the basketball in the WNBA. Have you seen our product? We have beautiful women playing beautiful basketball. Last Sunday, I did something I rarely do, and I am unlikely to do this going forward because the preseason has officially started in the NFL. But last Sunday, I watched the LA Sparkles and the Portland Ass Fire on NBC. Portland has this guard, Carla Light. I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but this young woman can play. To my surprise, the game was actually good. I am rarely impressed with what I see in the WNBA, but I was impressed with what I saw last Sunday in this game. I was so impressed by it, I actually talked about it here on the channel on Monday morning. I did exactly what WNBA players are accusing me of not doing. I talked about the basketball in their league. And here we are, less than a week later, and WNBA players are once again focusing on anything but basketball. Instead of focusing on making free throws, Lloyd the jeweler is focused on two dudes in the front row. Instead of focusing on getting rebounds, Asia Wilson is helping her teammates call 911. For 3 weeks now, the main storyline in the WNBA has been inclusion, the league of equity, the league of opportunity for all. For 3 weeks, WNBA players have been demanding that biological men be allowed in their league. Now, keep in mind, no one was talking about this before Sophie Cunningham was interviewed by ESPN. And in her defense, Sophie Cunningham was just answering a question. In this lengthy interview with ESPN, Sophie Cunningham made one innocent remark about protecting women's sports. In an article that was thousands and thousands of words, her comment about protecting women's sports, it might have been 50 to 100 words. And for 3 weeks, that has been the primary storyline in the WNBA. WNBA players not talking about basketball. WNBA coaches not talking about basketball. The dorks in the media who cover this toxic turd of a league not talking about basketball. Then they have the audacity to blame us. They want to blame creators. They want to blame YouTubers. They want to blame everyone but themselves. And the reason this storyline refuses to go away, WNBA players don't have anyone willing to lead them. And look, in defense of Cathy Engelbert, who, as you guys know, Cat Engelbert, not a leader, but even if she was, who knows? Maybe Cat has tried to lead behind the scenes. Maybe Cathy Engelbert has tried to shut this down. Maybe she has tried to put the focus on basketball. And maybe, just maybe, WNBA players aren't willing to listen. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.